that as those persons between the ages of 15 to 24 years, the time of life when one is young, especially the period between childhood and maturity. So that is a definition of young people, of youth, according to UN. Amen. When he talks about it talks about expressing the situation of something that is or appears to be enclosed or surrounded by something. Are we together? And then when he talks about ministry, ministry comes from the Greek word that is called diakonio, which means to serve. And it comes from another Greek word which is douliou, which means to serve as a slave. Amen. Can you imagine serving as a slave? And then he says in the New Testament, ministry is seen as service to God and his people and to other people in his name. And one of the things, do we get that first part? Yes, ministry is not about us, but then it's about serving other people, serving God, and serving his work. Amen. So when we talk about young people in ministry, you see that it's basically about young people surrounding themselves with the work of God. Amen. Yes. It's young people coming to serve God with all their hearts, wherein everything that they do and everything that they think of is basically ministry. It's basically doing the work of God. And you might say that, oh, I am not a young person. But you see, when you are somebody who has gone far in age and they speak about young people in church, it's few things that you should note. That number one, like our bishop has said, you should transform yourself into the nature of a young person. So it's not as if that, oh, the bishop does not care about you anymore. You are very needed. Even the Bible has spoken time and time again about how important it is about bringing in the use of old people, even rising up before the gray hair, sitting and listening to the wisdom of an old man. So you see that being old does not mean that there is no importance of you. You are needed in the work of God. But then when it comes to the speaking of young people, you see that your age does not matter. Amen. Yes. Are we together? Yes. Your age does not matter. It is you transforming yourself into a young person. You see when Sarah gave birth. You see when Abraham was able to transfer seed. And it wasn't only to Sarah that he transferred seed to. So it's not as if, it's just once that Abraham transferred seed. But it was more than once. So you see that as old as he was, he transformed himself into the nature of a young person to make sure that the will of God will come to pass. I heard of a very old woman, or let me not say very old woman, but then the woman is around 74, 75, so she's not very old, she's very young. And the person said that it's the person's mother. Anytime when she sits at home, her body pains, her bones pains her, she cannot walk properly, she cannot do some things, etc. But the moment she has spoken and cried, and they say, okay, go do crusade, go do outreach, go do follow-up, go do evangelism, her body never pains her. She'll walk for miles. She prefers to walk. She'll walk for miles, she'll do this, she'll lift up that, she'll preach over there, she'll not sleep well, she'll go and preach the next day, etc. And nothing will pain her. But the moment she sits at home and say, well, she does not sit at home. Her children says that she should sit at home. The moment she sits at home, everything pains her. So it shows that when it comes to the will of God, there is no old. You transform yourself into a young person. So this teaching that our bishop has given to us is for all of us. Can we please clap for the Lord and clap for our bishop? Amen. So let's continue. Let's look at how Jesus showed us ministry. Remember, Jesus was a young person. He wasn't old in no way, in no realm. In the physical realm, in the spiritual realm, he was a young person. So let's look at how he did ministry. We could look at Daniel, we could look at Joseph and all the other people. But let's look at the main person. Matthew 28, 18 to 20. Matthew 28, 18 to 20.
And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying...
And Jesus came. The first part that we should note. And Jesus came. It wasn't the people that came. It was Jesus that came. We have to go for the people. They are not the ones who be coming. Amen. Yes. Before we even continue to the other part of the verse, before he even goes to the part where he gives the command to go, he came. He was the first person that came. The people did not come. People don't love God. People don't love the Lord. They will never come. They are not coming for 1 million euros. They will not come. They are not coming for wedding. They will not come. They are not coming for a birthday party. They will not come. So they will not come. We have to go. Amen. Yes. And he continues and spake unto them, saying,